3 fucking years. After 3 fucking years, Mercedes Carrera finally gets a trial date. Oh my God. California justice system, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, folks? It is I, the bane of the woke, the harbinger of inheritance, the mad shogun, RealAaronAlexander. And today, well, it's about freaking time. So after all this shit with the coup and delays after delays after delays, they're punting the trial worse than a fucking than a Cellar series between 2 shitty football teams. So I think the pre-trial happened a few days ago, and she finally got a date. Now her trial is being set for October the 3rd. And this comes off what happened all the way back in 2019, February 1st, in which Mercedes Carrera and her husband, Jason Whitney, otherwise known as Demon Sins, got arrested over some allegations centered around child molestation, drug use, gun charges, etc. Now, what pisses me off about this was they haven't stood trial in 3 freaking years. That's a basic violation of their rights to begin with, but then again, this is fucking California. Now, they originally were being held without bail, but then after they liquidated their assets, they have absolutely no source of income because of course they're in the pen. They get $2 million apiece for bail, and I think there's a 10% clause in California if memory serves. I mean, I'm not too versed in California law, but I believe there's supposed to be a 10%, which if they just get about $200,000, they can get out. They can be sprung pending trial. So, according to the court documents, they finally had the pretrial hearing, and they determined jury selection, and then there you go. And this comes after months and months and years of the whole thing getting punted all over again. Now, I've been hearing it was Mercedes' public defender that keeps getting it punted. I don't know the details. I mean, I wish I was a fly on the wall on that court hearing, but I think part of the reason is due to COVID. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know what's going on, back in 2019, Mercedes Carrera and her husband Demon Sins got arrested. Now, before I go even further, I'd like to make a disclaimer here, okay? Just so everyone doesn't get confused, and just so everyone's saying, "Oh my God, he's being biased." Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. Mercedes is a personal friend of mine, okay? She's very pivotal. She's very pivotal in a lot of things that happened back in around I would say 2014, 2015. This is around the time Gamergate started, and at that time I was going through some personal issues, existential crisis and what have you. And Mercedes was one of the people that a major factor in sort of getting my life straight, if you will. Okay, finally setting me on this course, because if it weren't for her, believe me, I'd be a completely different person right now, and being completely different as not being good either. Okay, because I was in a really awful place at that time. But so if you're wondering why I'm going to be a little bit biased towards Mercedes and a little bit defensive, and it's because number one, it's because of that, and number two, when it comes to personal people who especially did favors for me in the past, I don't like to throw people under the bus. Now, and I know what you're saying. So why are you defending her if she molested a child? Well, first off, there hasn't been any proof to suggest that. Okay. Yes, she's worked in porn. Yes, and when you work in porn, yeah, you tend to hang around people that are pretty uncouth. But considering the line of work at the time, she's pretty much stayed off the radar of the more skeevier aspects of the industry. Okay, as a matter of fact, I think one of the catalysts behind her arrest was at the top, right before she got busted. She was having a bit of a falling out with a lot of the mainstream porn companies at that point, and I don't know why, but I don't know if it was a pay dispute or what have you. But she was pretty irate about a few things. But like I said, a little backstory in this is because the problem is the case was actually centers the one who's being molested, allegedly I should say, was her 9-year-old daughter, which we didn't know about until she got busted. Now, up until now, she didn't say anything about a kid. Okay, she probably even said she didn't even have one. Now, I know a lot of people say, "Well, she lied." Well, when you're in an industry like pornography, you're trying to keep your private life as close to the table as possible. And considering that she was probably around 8 or 9 at the time. I don't know when she got busted. I think she was like 9 or something. But considering the fact she did have a growing kid at that time, it would be very wise to try to keep that part of your life private, and that's understandable from her point of view. I mean, in personal life she would tell us, and believe me, we would be sworn to secrecy. I mean, there's a lot of other people that we know in person because of that. She known me. She's also known Mildra, who, as a matter of fact, she was actually pivotal in helping him out when his computer went down a while back. And believe me, so if you're wondering why me and Mildra hold her in high regard, and a lot of people among the whole sphere of the modestary shogun its sphere right there, it's because she's done a lot of favors for both of us. Done a lot of favors for both of us. She really didn't have to go out the way, but she did, and like I said, I'm eternally grateful. But what happened? But so basically, what happened is this stems out of I think all this it centers around an ex of hers, okay, and apparent. Long story short, they got into she was in a bit of custody battle with them, and unfortunately, she found a way to probably get some time with her daughter alone. And you got to keep in mind, when you're around 8 or 9 years old, you get a bit impressionable, and the sad part is you can easily get coached. Now, there has been red flags involving the whole situation. This is from what I can piece together. Okay, the little information I got, I managed to piece together. That apparently when you're dealing with a child molestation case or a rape molestation case or anything like that, you have to see a social worker. But the thing here is, it has to be at a facility. Okay, it has to be like a government facility, like a hospital or a police station or what have you. Now, what happened was, and this was a major red flag. They had the interview at her ex's house. That stood out to me. And I talked to another good friend of mine, another good personal friend, that is not protocol. That is not protocol at all. And the reason I think she's being busted and she's being railroaded in my case, or at least I believe she is due to the fact she's a sex worker. Now, I know a lot of people that watch me, especially those who are familiar with our good friend Mr. John Delarose. They probably might not like the fact that I am a bit of a booster of sex workers. But like I said, I don't think now I know the reputation. Most of them have to have freaking mental issues and got daddy issues up the ass, and that may be true for most of them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not that naive. But there are some that I have gotten to know that are pretty decent people, you know? And yeah, they had their share of problems, but let me tell you, the ones that I talk to semi-regularly, they are fucking model citizens compared to, let's say, a lot of even people in Hollywood, for example. And Mercedes has said that herself. Now, I don't know what's going to come out in the trial, to be honest with you. Now, and I hope she gets vindicated. Now, the problem here is when it comes to these types of trials, especially if you got a sex worker as your defendant, the odds are not in her favor. I'm going to be quite honest with you. The odds aren't even in her favor. If she had like proper representation, this would be a lot easier for her. But so I will expect that I don't know if she'll get a fair trial, considering that, number one, this is fucking California. You know how it goes, and she's basically not being claimed by either side. Number one, those on the right, which I do align myself with. Again, they don't take kind among people who are sex workers, especially now that there's a child molestation case going on. This is very bad timing for Mercedes, because if she gets convicted, all of a sudden they'd be like, yeah, lock that pedo up. Where like I said, if for me to prove that she actually did that shit, they really need to prove it to me. I mean, there needs to be evidence, hard evidence, etc. Not a bunch of hearsay bullshit, which I think that's going to come down to in this trial, because the evidence against Mercedes is pretty fucking shaky. Okay? And that's why I'm not throwing Mercedes under the bus. Now, if the evidence was slam dunk, I'd be like saying, yeah, Mercedes, I appreciate for everything what you've done, but I will disavow. But fortunately in this case, the evidence is too damn shaky, and it doesn't fit with her character, in my opinion. And now, like I said, I know some people in this will agree. You're going to thumbs down the video. That's fine. I get it. But like I said, I'm not. But the reason, if you're saying I'm not, why I'm not going to throw her at the bus is because, like I said, she's done a lot for me. And what if it comes out that none of this shit is a bunch of hearsay and bullshit, and A, she gets out, or B, she gets convicted anyway. So that's really yeah. So that's a pretty shaky situation. So like I said, I get so on the right, not trying to disavow her. Even I did talk to Worski a few months back. I did DM him about the situation, and he pretty much says that she done diddled her dog. And like I said, I don't agree with that, but you know what? I can understand his mindset here. You don't want to. I mean, it's not like most of these people have like a thick relationship with Mercedes. Okay. Now. And I also talked to Nick Rekieta about this thing, and he did basically give his opinion, which I can understand where he comes from, but let's just say again, it's not going to work in her favor, unfortunately. So I'm prepared to say that she might end up getting convicted. even if the evidence is shaky or didn't prove to me she didn't do it. But at the end of the but considering how California is, let's just say all parties involved in this situation, convicting her would be beneficial. Now, I did say that the right isn't too fond about when it comes to anybody that abuses children, and rightly so. But now you're thinking, is the left going to support her? Absolutely not. Because the leftoids, yeah, you remember Gamergate? Yeah. That feud goes way back. So her getting convicted would also benefit them as well, because that they get to put a pelt on the wall saying, yeah, we got one of those Gamergate Nazis. Yeah. So it's a really shitty situation all around. But let's move on to there's something else that I want to point out, and that's and this was last year. This was around June 29th of last year. Apparently, she got a situation where she did catch COVID, and here, I'm just going to show you the article right here, okay? And by the way, all these info does come at the service of Gustavo Turner of XBiz. Now, I'll be honest with you, what his other coverage, let's just say it's pretty fucking woke, but you know what? But kudos to him for trying to keep us in the loop when it comes to the Mercedes situation as best as possible. But what happened was, at that time, she got reported sick and she had flu-like symptoms. Days after being assigned a new roomie who showed flu-like symptoms. She got put in the quarantine unit and she ended up getting COVID. And apparently, let's see here. She requested to be vaccinated and had received no reply. Etc. So yeah, she probably got the jab or something. So that's not good there. But that like I said, what you want. But anyway, apparently she also feared for her life as gang affiliated appeals start calling for her a snitch and threatening her. So etc. So basically, she was in a bad way, and of course, so it seems so. From what I begin to understand here, is they're really putting her over the fucking moon on this deal with her in prison, and this was last year. I mean, bringing someone in who is sick and busted up their telephones and having people threatening her and shit. Jesus Christ. And on top of that, no trial and insurmountable bail. I'm sorry. If you ask me, this whole thing feels skeevy. Even if you don't agree with me on the whole thing with Mercedes, this thing feels fucking skeevy. Now there are some sites I want you to check out. I'm going to leave them in the video description for you, which is a article that Gustavo Turner did on Mercedes and Demon Sins back around 2 months after she got locked up, and also I did an interview all the way back in 2015 with Mercedes here. Look at me, I got that derpy ass face. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and play. And I figured right now I'm gonna go ahead and play that for you. Okay, I'm gonna play about a minute, so check it out.
Predictable, but anyway, I want to move on here. I don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to.
Sorry
to Gamergate, here. And it's a funny thing.
Oh yeah, sorry for the audio problems here. I still got an uncooperative headphones here. So
I saw this coming as I was graduating and got my bachelor's.
Uh-huh.
That
No,
was
let me reset.
I want to move on here. I don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to keep things moving here. And that leads on to Gamergate, and it's a funny thing about Gamergate because I saw this coming as I was graduating and got my bachelor's. And that was 5 years ago. Because I'll give you a little funny story about the IGDA. I went over there to one of their meetups around, I don't know, it was sometime after I graduated, so it could be late 2010, maybe early 2011. So I went over to their meetup, and me, when it comes to game design, I'm a big dreamer. I basically like to dream big, you know. Like I said, I think there's nothing wrong with being ambitious. So I went over there, and long story short, all they want to do is do app games. I'm like, mobile apps. I'm like, huh?
Right.
I'm like, I thought these guys were pretty good. It's like trying to get the I thought your ambition. There's no such thing as too much ambition, but apparently to them there is. Yeah. So long story short, I mean, I try to get some sort of a job, which in the Chicagoland area, they're very few and far between. Take a wild guess what happened.
Do tell.
They don't want to hire my ass.
Yeah. Right.
But like I said, I have seen this sort of thing coming because not only because I was getting that idea that anyone who's pretty much trying to make gaming better, try to bring new ideas to the table, they were getting shut out. And now with Gamergate, we sort of hit the fever pitch. Now,
okay, hold on. Let me fast forward because I'm talking too much here. Yeah, blah da 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 da. Yeah, I'm talking my little saw story about the whole thing. So okay, I want to get to a part where Mercedes was speaking about something. So here we go.
Well, they tried to dictate. You know, they created their own progressive stack of whatever was important to them, and then they tried to dictate it to a group of people who are consumers. I mean, it's fascinating to me. I mean, you know, they're trying to do what fashion has done for a long time. Like fashion does this, where they create a style, and then they say this is the style and this is the trend, and then that's what we're selling at stores, and that's what you get, right? And so for the longest time, I mean, now it's different. Now you can actually find different stores with different styles, and you can find things that kind of suit your own style. But for the longest time, that's how it was. Like if I went to Macy's in 1985, whatever style was in is the dynasty style or whatever, that was, you know, what was available. And for the most part, fashion consumers are okay with that. They want to be on trend. So they're willing to buy whatever clothes are trendy, even if it doesn't look good on them, even if it's not flattering. I mean, I went into a clothing store the other day because I have to for work, and I hate buying clothes. I hate it. I hate clothing shopping. I'm like such an ass-bee because it's just in my personal time, I'll tank tops and yoga pants. But I have to buy shit for work, right? So I go, and I'm like, everything looks like it was made in 1985. I'm in Forever 21 or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Because I remember the 80s. I was a kid, but I remember the 80s. And I refused to dress the way I did when I was 5. Like, it's not happening.
Okay. Yeah, you pretty much get the idea. Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that link in the description for you so you can check it out yourself. And I'm also going to leave the link to this article in the video description as well. Now, before I go, I will say this. A few years ago, I wanted to do a full-on video tracking Mercedes' career up until the bus, and then talking about it in full when it comes to her case. Now, the reason I didn't do that was because there's another disclaimer. I have been keeping contact with Mercedes a couple times. I did write to her. We did exchange letters a couple times, and she did say it to not do that. I didn't want to do the video without her blessing, and she didn't give it to me, which I understand. because you don't want to jeopardize anything to do with the case. So if that video I would have been doing it on this channel for sure, but all I gotta say at this point is hopefully this whole thing does not get Ganjutsu'd and get pushed back again. Okay, I'm hoping this trial doesn't get delayed, because at this point I think a lot of us at this point want closure in this whole situation. Will she be vindicated? Did she actually molest her daughter, or will she get fucking railroaded by California's judicial system? So hopefully this fall we'll have our answer. So that's all I gotta say for now. So I'll talk to y'all in the next video. All right, take care.